Welcome back to this already, the final segment of today's Price of Business, and I am your host, Kevin Price, talking to you about you and your businesses. The listener knows we've been doing a series of programs about the possibility of people who have great show ideas, radio show ideas, that they think need a platform. And so we're kind of giving an opportunity to different individuals to pitch their show idea, and just having a little bit of fun with them. And Trevor Ewen, he's the latest to be a part of that. He's heavily involved in the financial industry and helping people navigate through their money issues. But he also has a passion about doing it yourself, and that seems to be the idea behind his show. But Trevor, before we get started, kind of just give us an overview of the work you do and what you've been all about.
Sure. So I'm very interested in personal finance and investment, and writing for personal finance and investment. I think it should be accessible to regular people, including people who work outside the financial industry explicitly. Because I'm in technology during the day, I'm able to work in a lot of different industries. I've worked for banks before, worked for media companies. And when you see that spread, you realize that everybody's out there making a living. They're making money and changes in their lives, things that propel them forward. And they need good ways to manage that, good things to do with that. A lot of people come into a huge inheritance or a huge windfall, and they have no idea what to do. And so I think we need to engender a culture of personal finance. So that's what a lot of my writing and content speaks to at the moment.
Okay, and so you're pretty ADD too. It sounds like I can be ADD. You do technology for a living. You write about the whole financial arena, but you've got a passion about do it yourself, which obviously has a link to the financial arena. I think.
Yeah. I mean, so I think there's this interesting culture now, and the artisanal economy is now bigger in the U.S., and I see it's funny that the world has gotten smaller, and so is business in the same way. A lot of people are kind of working on their own. They're doing their own things. They're entrepreneurs. They're freelancing, whatever it is. They're making things. That's really interesting to me, too, especially in regional areas, people who make, artisanal products and things like that. So in the spirit of the Tim Ferriss show, what DIY Nation would seek to do is really to bring on these kind of entrepreneurs. And Tim Ferriss' show, if you guys haven't listened to it, is a great example of just a very strong interview-based show, and he interviews extraordinary people, so people who are extraordinary at whatever they do. Even people you may not like or may not agree with in terms of their politics or the things they do for a living, but they are extraordinary at them. And so in the same kind of spirit, DIY Nation would take advantage of that in the DIY space, people who are great artisans of what they do. I want to talk to, you're in Texas, I'd want to talk to the best meat smokers in Texas. But beyond that, I'd want to talk to the best butchers, even the best cattle farmers, the people who are doing what they love because they're truly brilliant at it and kind of bring that out into the marketplace. And I think the best ad for them is that they get a chance, to have a platform for what they're doing, what their passion is and also what their living is.
So when you saw our request, our desire to do an interview on this topic, had you already begun to develop the show idea, or had you thought that you saw that and said, "Hey, yeah, this would be a great show idea"? Kind of where were you when you saw our request, our media request?
Yeah, so I mean, it was requesting a pitch. So the show doesn't exist in any form yet. It was something I've been tossing around for a little while with a couple other people. I'd like to get some good feedback on something like that. Mostly it's a matter of, just like anybody in radio, can you keep up the interviews? Could I interview enough interesting people, or would I end up getting into smaller niches that just don't really fulfill a need? So that's how it exists at the moment.
So have you done anything as far as creating such a show?
I'm sorry, could you say that again?
Have you done anything in terms of creating such a show?
No content as of yet. Mostly just talking with people I know who'd be interested and saying, hey, you're a DIY person, you're in the artisanal economy. I live in New York. There's loads of people here who do all manner of every entrepreneurial thing. So it's really just a matter of getting their pulse. And if it's of interest with anyone I ask, then we'd be planning to start something this summer or in the fall.
And do you see it as a weekly program, or at least to get started, I would assume?
Yeah, weekly would be a nice target. I'd rather do something really good every 2 weeks than something kind of thrown together every week. And I think it's good to let the content take a little time to build. And so I wouldn't mind starting slower if it meant I could actually put more of myself into it. And that doesn't necessarily mean a longer show. It just means that I get better interviews, better content, be better prepared for those interviews, have a little more time to edit them, all the things that come with the business.
Yeah, very good, very good, and I think it's interesting. Give us a sample of what a couple of those shows would look like.
So,
kind of give us an idea.
Let's see. We talk about this kind of artisanal economy. So, I've got a good friend in New York who is a jewelry maker, and that sounds interesting. We probably know what that entails, but let's really break apart the guts of the business. Okay, so you make jewelry. You somehow manage to sustain a living in New York. Everyone knows that that's not cheap. So assuming there's not any kind of external and unrelated funding there, how exactly are you putting your business forward? How are you marketing? Where do you meet clients? Who is the clientele for artisanal jewelry? Is there a good market for it? Have you seen growth in this market? What part of your business is related to e-commerce? And just kind of trying to drill into the specifics of that. And my real hope is that someone else out there, the burgeoning jewelry maker or someone who's in something similar, gets a lot of good ideas from the concept. So where would they go to market? New ideas for networking, new ideas for finding buyers, new ideas for finding markets.
And you think you'd like to try to get something rolling by the end of the year, you think?
That would be the hope, yeah. I did a lot of talk radio while I was in college, and I actually just really miss it right now. So I haven't been doing a lot of broadcast anything. So this is kind of a pleasure to get back on the air, and it's something I wanted to do a bit more of. And the podcast market right now is, frankly, it seems like it's in a bit of a second boom for podcasts. And, I don't want to add to the noise. I want to, add quality. So hopefully that's something I can do later this year.
Yeah, I can see that. I will say that all of a sudden, there's still a certain amount of legitimacy that broadcast has, but thanks to things like Salon now developing its radio program, Terrace's radio program, there's now a legitimacy to podcasting that there was a time where I doubt would ever come, but seems to have come. That seems to have arrived. And Trevor, I really appreciate your time and enjoyed learning more about what you're doing. Trevor's website is TrevorEwen.com. That's TREVOREWEN. That's TREVOREWEN.com. Thanks so much, Trevor.
Thank you, Kevin.
Great story. All right, when we come back on tomorrow, we're going to have much more for you. We want to remind you that content here shows up over there at usdatareview.com. While there, like it on Facebook, follow it on Twitter.
Portions of today's show brought to you by PrescriptionFitnessOnline.com.